It's a big political day here on 5 Live. India Today's coverage of the big political headline from Bharat to Sanatana Dharma to the special session of Parliament right ahead of the G20 that's up later this week. All of it and much more right here on 5 Live. Thanks so much for being with me. I'm Shiv. These are the headlines. Udhayanidhi Stalin and Priyank Kharge booked for Sanatan slander. Stalin Jr. claims proof of Sanatana Dharma bias, claims President Murmu's parliament exclusion was casteist. Formal Ganesh Chaturthi unveiling of India's new parliament building. Special session in the old parliament for 1.5 days. The next 3.5 days of the special session will be in the beautiful new Sansad. Sonia Gandhi shoots off a 9-point letter to the Prime Minister, says opposition kept in the dark over the special Parliament session agenda. Key One Nation, One Poll meeting underway at former President Kovind's house. He chairs the committee. After External Affairs Minister Jaishankar's defense of India, that is Bharat, in the Constitution, Congress hits out, says Jaishankar should read history. Prime Minister Modi tells his ministers that only authorized people should speak on this issue. Siddaramaiah minister mocks farmer suicide, says farmers die by suicide for compensation. Even DK Shivakumar mocks, asks, where are the farmer suicides? Trouble mounts. Trouble appears to be mounting for Tamil Nadu minister, son of the chief minister, Udhayanidhi Stalin, as he's now been booked by the police for his comment where he called for the eradication of Sanatana Dharma like dengue and malaria. An FIR has been registered in Uttar Pradesh's Rampur against the Tamil Nadu minister for his statement that has triggered a huge political and cultural war within Tamil Nadu and outside. Well, the FIR also names Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge's son and Karnataka Minister Priyank Kharge for supporting what Udhayanidhi Stalin said. Take a look at the big story of the day.
சிலவற்றை நாம் ஒழிக்கத்தான் வேண்டும், எதிர்க்க முடியாது. கொசு, டெங்கு காய்ச்சல், மலேரியா, கொரோனா இதையெல்லாம் நம்ம எதிர்க்க கூடாது, ஒழித்து கட்ட வேண்டும்.
Days after Tamil Nadu Minister Udhayanidhi Stalin compared Sanatana Dharma to dengue and malaria and called for its eradication, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stepped into the controversy. The Prime Minister raised the subject in a meeting with union ministers at the cabinet on Wednesday. Top sources tell India Today the Prime Minister highlighted the need to respond effectively to the debate on Sanatana Dharma sparked by Udhayanidhi's comments. Sources say the Prime Minister advised his colleagues not to go into history but stick to the facts as per the Constitution. The ministers were advised to speak on the current situation. Meanwhile, an FIR has been registered in Rampur, Uttar Pradesh against Udhayanidhi Stalin over his remark on Sanatana Dharma. Karnataka Minister Priyank Kharge has also been booked over his comments that allegedly backed Udhayanidhi Stalin.
They don't care, they can do what they want. My statement is very, very clear. It's not against any particular religion. I have very clearly stated that any religion that does not preach equality, that does not ensure the dignity of a human being is embedded in that philosophy, it is not a religion according to me.
The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's son is holding his ground and has defiantly refused to apologize or clarify. The DMK leader also targeted the Narendra Modi government over the omission of President Draupadi Murmu from the inauguration ceremony of the new parliament building.
The Honorable President Draupadi Murmu, madam, she was not invited for the opening of the parliament. Right. That is the best current example. Thank you.
No question of apology.
Somebody's apologized to me?
They demanding your apology.
No, sorry.
Stalin Jr.'s comments have sparked a backlash from the BJP.
You are lucky, Udhayanidhi Stalin.
ನೀನು ಸನಾತನ ಧರ್ಮೀಯರು ಬಹುಸಂಖ್ಯಾತರು ಇರುವ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದೀಯ. ನೀ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಅರಬ್ನಲ್ಲೋ ಇರಾನ್ನಲ್ಲೋ ಇರಾಕ್ನಲ್ಲೋ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು? ಯು ಆರ್ ಲಕ್ಕಿ, ಯು ಆರ್ ಸೇಫ್. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿ ಯಾರನ್ನು ಕೊಲ್ಲೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
काल इतना हिंदू के लिए इतना खतरनाक चीज बताया. If somebody would have said against Muslim and Christian, what would have been you reacted? Why he is non-secular, he is communal, he is speaking against Islam. Now why you are speaking against Hindu?
The row over Sanatana Dharma shows no sign of ending. Now a video of Udhayanidhi's grandfather and DMK patriarch M. Karunanidhi criticizing Sanatana Dharma has gone viral.
FIR registered against Tamil Nadu Sports Minister Udhayanidhi Stalin, and FIR also registered against Rural Development and IT Minister of Karnataka Priyank Kharge for making controversial statement against Sanatana Dharma. The FIR registered against them have mentioned that the statements made by these ministers have hurt the religious sentiments of Hindus. With video journalist Madhu Sagairaj reporting for India Today, Bengaluru.
Let's go across to India Today's Polami Saha, who's tracking this new piece of breaking news. The Prime Minister hasn't made a statement in public, but Polami, it was in a cabinet meeting where he's apparently brought up the issue of Udhayanidhi Stalin's attack on Sanatana Dharma, and he's basically called for a counter-strike. Now, we don't know what that counter-strike is going to be, but this appears to confirm that what Udhayanidhi said is going to be an election issue.
Absolutely. The BJP has been asked by the Prime Minister to go out all guns blazing against the India bloc, and specifically the statement that Udhayanidhi Stalin made, which has found some endorsement from some quarters of the India bloc, though everyone has not commented on the same. Some have chosen to stay mum, some have distanced themselves, but there are the likes of Priyank Kharge who have supported what Udhayanidhi Stalin has said. The Prime Minister's word for the Council of Ministers today in that meeting was very clear. Go all out, all aggressive in order to counter the statement that Udhayanidhi Stalin made to defend Sanatana Dharma. Don't get digressed by any sort of historical issues. Don't go back into the past, etc., into explaining all of it. Stick to the facts of the issue. Stick to how this is playing out in the times right now, the contemporary side of this issue, and counter the same. So now, of course, you're hearing more ministers, in fact, who are already speaking out against Udhayanidhi Stalin. Already the BJP had launched a concerted attack against the India bloc and Udhayanidhi Stalin for the same. Now you're hearing more voices emerge after the Prime Minister's clear diktat to the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay, it's going to be all guns blazing. Confirmation really that this is not going to simply blow over. Rather, it will be a key election issue and part of the BJP's narrative as well. It's going to be milk to the hilt. Pallavi, thanks for putting that into perspective for us. Now, one of the most viral voices and one of the most aggressive on this issue has been J. Sai Deepak, who is a well-known lawyer, historian, and also an author of several best-selling books. He joined me just a short while ago here on India Today to talk specifically about what Udhayanidhi Stalin had said. This is a video, this is an interview that's already making waves on the internet. Here's where J. Sai Deepak speaks about the Sanatana Dharma comment by Udhayanidhi Stalin. A comment that was made by Udhayanidhi Stalin, which I'm sure you've already seen, about Sanatana Dharma, where he, you know, just for the benefit of our viewers, he said it should be eradicated like malaria and dengue and I think COVID as well. What did you think about that comment? Because he's been defiant. He said that I did not mean Hinduism or Hindus. I meant the caste system, and nobody can make me retract my statement.
I think that untrained, unlettered scion of the DMK family, not the party, has bitten off more than he can chew. And he will certainly face the consequence for it, politically, legally, and socially. And it's important that he faces the consequence of it, because notwithstanding the fact that his statement is absolutely consistent with the anti-national, anti-Bharat, anti-Hindu DNA of the DMK, it's time that this issue got traction. Because as much as people know about the exodus of post-exodus of Kashmiri Pandits and Kashmiri Hindus from the valley under the threat of the gun, people don't know the conditions in which Hindus live in the state of Tamil Nadu under a rabidly fascist Dravidinist regime. Because ultimately, if you go to the history of the origins of this regime or this ideology, so to speak, their ideologue, their founder, E.V. Ramaswamy, toured Europe before he founded the Dravida Kazhagam, which is the social organization founded by him. And he drew significantly from the fascists of Italy and from the Nazis of Germany, or rather, at least the far right ideologies that were prevalent at that particular point of time. Nazis were still not in existence around that period. So the point I'm trying to make is DMK is revealing its true neo-Nazi fascist tendencies because it has a tendency to attack the softest possible punching bag in the history of modern independent Bharatiya Republic, which is Hindus.
Do you think the reaction to what he said should have been greater than what it has? Because one side of the...
Without a doubt.
What do you think should have happened? What do you think needs to happen?
At the very least, when people who took umbrage to what the tigress Nupur Sharma said on television should have perhaps meted out the very same treatment in terms of legally prosecuting this particular gentleman. And most importantly, even if I don't have any kind of expectations from, let's say, free agents and independent individuals, I would certainly have an expectation from the judiciary, which was happy taking so much cognizance of quite a few statements when those statements affected other communities.
Yeah.
Here's a statement that's been issued by a political functionary, a cabinet minister of a particular state, who's sworn an oath on the constitution, and he has issued a statement against 80% of the population of this country. Hopefully, we are still 80%. And I hope the Supreme Court takes so much cognizance of this system, of this particular instance as well, because that would reinforce or restore the confidence of people in the independence of the judiciary and its fair-mindedness.
You know, Sai Deepak, among the many reactions that have come out to either justify what Udhayanidhi Stalin has said or to shield him from the harsh comments that have been coming his way is that Sanatana Dharma, the way it is understood in Tamil Nadu, is the caste system. So you can't spin it any other way, and you can't blame Udhayanidhi for saying something which is a sentiment that is prevalent, in Dravidian politics. How would you respond to that? Because every time he's been confronted with the criticism of his comments, he said, I meant the caste system. Is this the caste system that he was talking about?
Frankly, I think it's a load of hogwash, pardon me for the French. But all these justifications, let him offer this in a court of law, because when he made the statement, it had no caveat, it had no explanation, it had no disclaimer. So these ex post facto justifications don't hold water, they don't cut ice. Let him answer and submit himself to a court of law, as and when he is called up in a court of law for the statement that he's made.
Moving on now to the issue of Bharat versus India, if there even is a versus there. I think, viewer, that the Modi government has achieved exactly what it wanted to achieve this week, and in a style that it has perfected over the years. Quietly float a balloon and then sit back and watch the reactions. Milk the reactions that suit them, attack the reactions that don't, and let everyone simply show their cards. Lure them out of the shadows and make them take a position that pins them down one way or the other. It's embarrassing. They did it with the one nation, one poll issue, and now again with Bharat. Like I told you on my show yesterday, India is not being renamed. There is no move to rename India. The constitution literally has both India and Bharat, and therefore any anxiety about a renaming exercise is totally unnecessary. In my view, apart from the specific use of Bharat being a unique cultural political flex ahead of the G20 to amplify India's civilizational roots before the biggest panel of world leaders and their teams, it also serves as a dipstick test in what is unfolding to be a high-stakes, no-holds-barred election season in the run-up to 2024. Now, with no plans to either remove India, rename India, or impose Bharat on anyone, the government has basically forced the entire galaxy of opposition leaders to step forward and protest in full public view over something as emotive, simple, commonplace, and intrinsic to the identity of India as Bharat. So immediate has been the impact of this non-decision that you have people like Shashi Tharoor sarcastically suggest the India alliance can call itself Bharat. Mehbooba Mufti is busy fulminating over how India's foundational principles have been taken to a new low. Sharad Pawar says no one has the right to change the country's name. Mamata Banerjee says you cannot change history. Others are sulking over how this is Hindi imposition. Yet more are saying this is a war by the North against the South, totally clueless about how Bharatam and Bharata are words in the South. They've been supported in the South. It has shown a unique vulnerability by the opposition to being distracted from core issues, a willingness to be thin-skinned and hypersensitive about slippery issues where fierce black and white views do not sit well, and in some cases a predilection for jumping the gun and showing all their cards. Because what else has happened in the last 24 hours? Basically a total meltdown, an unseemly mela over a non-issue, with Modi's rivals literally lining up to fall into the government's trap. Their impulsive opposition to any government move, official or not, is understandable. But in this case, it has probably backfired, because the attempt to appear adversarial has had the unfortunate collateral effect of making many opposition leaders seem somehow against the idea of using Bharat. And you can take it from me in writing, that's how the BJP will spin it. That's how they will milk it. With the India alliance still searching for a cohesive hammer of a narrative against the Modi government, this week also shows how susceptible the opposition is to what it calls headline management. It's a justifiable allegation, but they have fallen prey to it. Sure, you can point a finger at the media, but with one nation, one poll, and now with Bharat, the government has essentially drawn the opposition out. Whether this cuts both ways, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you for listening. And now the question that continues to loom over the Bharat versus India issue is something that is going to continue to buzz in the run-up to that special session of Parliament on the 18th to the 22nd of September. Is it going to come up? I don't think so. I'm putting my money out there and saying there is no decision to rename India. I also spoke to lawyer and best-selling author J. Sai Deepak, the second segment of my viral interview with him, where I asked him about Bharat. And he's someone who knows a thing or two about it, because he's literally written books, including one called India, that is Bharat. Take a look. And joining us now is J. Sai Deepak. He's a lawyer at the Supreme Court and the Delhi High Court. He's also the author of two best-selling books. One of them is called India, that is Bharat. The other is called India, Bharat and Pakistan. So he knows more than a thing or two about what we're talking about right now. Sai Deepak, thank you very much for your time and for joining us here on India Today. My first question to you is for an opening comment on the headline of the day, which was triggered by, a small glimpse of an invitation issued by the president of the country, where the word Bharat was used instead of India. What did you think of that, first off?
Frankly, I was extremely happy to see that. I wasn't sure if it was for real or was it apocryphal, but turns out that this could indeed be the case. And I think quite a few framers of the Constitution who were keen on naming this country Bharat or Bharatvarsha stand finally vindicated. I'm happy that this move has happened. While most people are bound to see this as a mere cosmetic move, I think naming as part of Bharatiya culture or Namkaran is an extremely important act. And therefore, reversion to your cultural or your civilization name is a huge sign of self-confidence on the part of the civilization and the part of the Bharatiya state. I'm happy that finally this dispensation has done something which was long pending.
Because
let's hope they're doing it.
Yes, Sai Deepak, because apart from that invitation from the Rashtrapati Bhavan, there has been no announcement as such from the government itself. Most of what we've seen is mostly speculation and extrapolation from that one image. The title of one of your books is India, that is Bharat. That's the first line of Article 1 of the Constitution, which very clearly mentions both India and Bharat. So the question arises, does any renaming even need to happen if India and Bharat both exist? Can't they be used interchangeably?
So they are being used interchangeably, but the fact of the matter is, when it was originally proposed, the draft provisions spoke exclusively of India. Then several amendments were proposed by members. I think even the father of one of the MPs from Puri, I think Pinaki Mishra's father, was among the ones to suggest amendments to the effect that India must be replaced either with Bharat or Bharatavarsha. Dr. Ambedkar worked out a compromise solution where he retained India and Bharat, and he said India, that is Bharat. Despite which there were several disagreements to the effect that why should a country have two names? Why do we suffer from this split personality or this multiple personality disorder? Which other self-respecting civilization continues to address itself and call itself by the name given to it by the colonizer? Now, I don't wish to get into the antecedents of it, but the consensus to a significant extent was that we should revert to either Hindustan or Bharatavarsha. Bharat was deemed more appropriate, but Dr. Ambedkar chose to work out this particular solution. I don't think it's a problem to use either interchangeably from an operational perspective. The larger meta question that I think we should be asking ourselves is, why should we have two names in the first place? What is the purpose here?
So are you saying that the government should move ahead and pass a resolution saying Bharat should be the official name of the country from now on and not India, that two names should stop being the norm now?
Parts of the book that if you do not even have the civilizational confidence to revert to your original name, then what exactly are you conveying to the world in terms of your aspirations of becoming a Vishwaguru? Second, I'm sure there are quite a few people who might say, Naam mein kya rakha hai, we should focus on development, so on and so forth. Every self-respecting civilization post-political independence has chosen to go back to its own roots, to its own culture. This civilization, which is perhaps the oldest, has not had the confidence to do so for the last 75 years. I'm happy that this too is happening. I wouldn't say that this is a be-all and end-all, because at the end of the day, apart from the name, the spirit and the letter both must go hand in hand. So let's hope that even the spirit of Bharat is restored to its original spirit.
There are those who will wonder about the implications of, abruptly dropping a name like India, Sai Deepak. Wouldn't there be a lot of work to do if you suddenly switch from India and Bharat to just Bharat?
Nobody asked this question of the DMK when they changed from Madras to Chennai. Nobody asked this question of the Shiv Sena when they changed Bombay to Mumbai. So why shouldn't it apply to the macro entity which is Bharat itself? What is so wrong about it? If people are comfortable giving all sorts of reasonable justifications for diversion to Kolkata, to Mumbai and to Chennai, why do they have a problem with India being reverted to Bharat?
And after this very short break, is it Bure Din for President Xi Jinping? He's skipping the G20 in India that begins at the end of this week. But we've got shocking new details of why these are bad days for the Chinese president and why this is a historically bad time for his country. It makes you understand why he's decided to stay away from Delhi this week.
The national capital is decked up for the power-packed G20 summit. A massive beautification drive has been undertaken by the civic authorities over the last few months, further enhancing the grandeur of the historic city of Delhi. Apart from the cleanliness drive, art pieces and several eye-catching water fountains are put up. World's tallest Nataraja statue stands at the entrance of the convention hall at the Bharat Mandapam, the venue of the upcoming G20 summit in Delhi. It took a special green corridor and support of several states to bring the 27-foot-tall Nataraja single-cast statue from Swami Malai in Tamil Nadu's Tanjavur to Delhi. The Ashtadhatu statue is truly one of its kind, made using the traditional sculpting technique, the lost wax casting method of the Chola period. Around 82% of copper, 15% bronze and 3% lead, along with small amounts of gold, silver, tin and mercury were utilized. Weighing 19 tons, the statue was built over a period of 6 months by 18 craftsmen. Crafted by S. Devasenathipati, Thapati sons of Swami Malai, Tamil Nadu, the statue shows Lord Shiva performing the dynamic dance posture called Tandava, which exudes energy and vitality. Apart from the Nataraja, numerous statues and posters adorn the city, showing the diversity of the country. The G20 summit is scheduled for September 9th and 10th. US President Joe Biden, French President Emmanuel Macron, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva are among the G20 leaders who will participate in the G20 summit. Bureau Report, India Today.